So, one thing I learned this week is that not everybody is educated on how injuries work. I mean, I guess I have an inside working with you, but we had a podcast on Friday, Doc, about a short one about Dak. The line changed 4 points. You were saying he's healthy enough to play, but he's not going to play. We saw the pregame warm up just as you predicted. He'll go out there, he'll do some stuff. But I think that fooled a lot of people, Doc, because beat reporters were saying, well, if he can do that, why isn't he playing? Al Michaels mentioned it 10 times on Sunday Night Football. I can't believe Dak's not playing. He looked great. So you tell everybody, Doc, why Dak Prescott didn't start and why he will start this week.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything from Al Michaels or the broadcast. We were too busy trick-or-treating,
He
West
was just
Coast
stunned.
time.
He couldn't believe what he saw on the field before the game didn't translate into Dak starting at quarterback. But as you've pointed out many times, there's a difference of working out before the game and a true game time decision, which you believe are very few in the NFL.
As we said on the podcast, and we won't repeat it completely here, but in my 17 years as a head team physician, I could count on one hand or a cartoon character's hand the times that it was a, quote, true maybe game time decision. There were a lot of announcements of game time decisions, but we knew which way we were leaning. We knew which way it was going to go, and the, quote, workout was just confirmatory. Now, look, I'm not calling Jerry Jones a liar. He's not a liar. He never told us that Dak was playing. 2 weeks ago, he said Trayvon Diggs and Tyron Smith are playing, and they did, even though the injury report said questionable. This time, he said Dak is doing well. He's ahead of schedule. I like what he's doing. He's progressing nicely. He never said the magic words that he's playing. In addition to which, you heard the language from Dak about long season. It's not all up to me. The fact that it was released that he got a PRP injection earlier this week, cast some doubt. The fact that the Cowboys were 5-1, the rest of the division was 2-5, and look, in the end, they made the right decision. But all eyes, even though the afternoon games were going on, the Twitter beat reporters and showing video of Dak working out, and you see some of it here. Look, the way that they worked him out hard. The way they used that rope and whatever and really worked him out hard. I won't call out any beat reporters, but there was one beat reporter that said, oh my gosh, he looks great, right? I'm paraphrasing. And he did a lot of work and he did it all very well. He looks great. And my thought there was, look, if the guy is playing, you don't do a lot of work. You just warm it up enough to know that you can do it. The last thing you want to do is fatigue a muscle, a calf muscle, then play the guy and expose him to more injury. The reason he wasn't going to play is the fear that it would turn into a Michael Gallup injury where he misses multiple weeks. Gallup missed 5-6 weeks or something, and that's fresh in their mind. That's what they're trying to avoid. And so one more week and he's going to be okay. And so looking at that workout, I was like, he's not going to play. But it was a good show. I mean, Mike McCarthy was out there, Stephen Jones, Jerry Jones, a bunch of suits were out there. And, to me, when the athletic trainer and Dak, shook hands and gave a good hug and pat, that wasn't good job, you're going to play. That was good job with the rehab. You're good. You're looking good. And, thanks for the hard work kind of pat. And then he, of course, proceeded to help Cooper Rush. And when all this is going on, I'm not a media guy, Thomas. You're a media guy more than I'm not a media guy. I do injury analysis. But in my time watching what happens in media and other things, I had a little fun and I even tweeted out. I said, look, he's not going to play. And as a matter of fact, just wait a few minutes before the 90-minute inactive. Some major reporter is going to leak the news that he's not going to be active. And sure enough, Chris Mortensen, I've had the fortune of meeting Mort Report, super nice guy, utmost respect for him. None of this is negative at all. He's done it all in the industry, but he reported it. But it's just not realistic that Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones or someone from the Cowboys organization picked up the phone after the Dak Prescott workout and in those few minutes said, Chris, here you go. He's not going to play because of what we've seen. it was already predetermined that he wasn't going to go. But reporters are only allowed to release information at certain times when there's no advantage to the other team, etc. And so to me, it just all made sense. And this wasn't a game time decision. Look, if you're calling a game time decision, there's a 1% chance that we'd change our minds and Dak could play. Yeah, that's a game time decision. But we talked about it. I've talked to a lot of people about it throughout the league and in my experience too. You always pretty much know. And in the end, yeah, something could change. It's predetermined. I call these workouts confirmatory rather than, changing your mind or decision making. And we talked about on the podcast too. If the Cowboys are saying we have to have no doubt that he's going to be fine, well, how can you have doubt on Saturday and not have doubt on Sunday, no matter how he looks in workout? The doubt's implanted. That's why, to me, it was easy to say that he wasn't going to play. And look, in the end, he didn't get the middle, but there was a pretty good middle opportunity there as a result.
And that's all.
But as strongly as I've been saying that Dak wasn't going to play this week, and it took me to Friday to come to that conclusion for sure, I'm going to say that strongly that he is playing this next week. He got his 1 week rest and cushion. Now, unless we see this week in practice that he, aggravated it, he will play this next game. And we also heard late week that, even though he ramped up and was looking great and whatever, that Cooper Rush took all the first team reps.
Exactly.
None went to Dak. And now, Dak is good enough that if he couldn't do it, they would still play him. It's not a Sam Darnold situation, right? Dak is the man there.
Yeah.
But if they can't be sure enough to practice him on Wednesday and Thursday, and they gave him a PRP injection on Tuesday, and they're not sure about him on Saturday, how the heck are they going to get sure after a pregame workout on Sunday? It's just not going to happen.
Well, Doc, I told everybody all week, I said, Dak's not playing. They said, was it announced? I said, yeah, it's announced by me. I said, the odds makers don't think he's playing. Doc doesn't think he's playing. He's not playing. So, bottom line, and Doc, you correct me if I'm wrong, this is how it is. Dak was healthy enough to play. They wanted to keep him out 1 more week to rest that calf. If it was the NFC Championship game, he would have played. He's most likely to start on Sunday. Is that correct?
I think that's correct, but I'll modify that some. If this were a meaningful division game, he would have played, right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be an NFC Championship game. If this was a meaningful division game, he would have played. He could have played, and that has been our position all along. Just decision-wise, that ended up being smarter for him not to play and get the insurance. And heck, they got the win anyways, right? So they got the best of all worlds here. But yeah, that's just, and this is where I think I have the unfair advantage of, having been on the other side. That's why we talk about insider knowledge, not insider information, being a big difference there. And, Thomas, if it were so easy, if we could bet on, look, it wouldn't be 100%, right? We talked about how he missed Jameis. But if we could bet on whether Robert Tonyan, and it'd be kind of bad to do this, but if you could bet on whether Robert Tonyan had an ACL or not, or you could bet on whether Dak's playing or not, or should play or not, we'd be able to crush the gambling market. It's the fact that what does it mean when a guy doesn't play that makes it harder. And that's why I always say, we're at Pro Football Doc, we are not trying to be touts. We're just trying to give you injury information to help you solidify your decisions and either strengthen them or pull back from them. It's injury information and analysis, and we're not trying to be pickers.